Hello again, Guardians, and welcome back to the channel for another Destiny episode. Before we begin, I am giving away 1,000 silver this week on the channel. All you have to do to enter and win is be subscribed to this channel, show your support by liking the video, and leave a comment down below about Destiny 2. Now, to get into this update recently that's about to launch on Tuesday, I decided to do a video going through my vault and accessing the vault and going through items that I haven't used in a long time, but I kept because I desired to hold on to them because they had nostalgia. They had a purpose behind them once before, so why not possibly once again later on? And just some items I just couldn't give up because since year one, there's been items in the game that you just can't get anymore. So, here's my weapons. As you can see, I have a lot of weapons. And my vault used to be completely full with armor and with materials out of the general, and it's crazy. Like, I've had so much stuff pass through this vault over the last 3 years of playing this game that it was very hard to pick and choose between what I was going to keep and what I was going to get rid of. But I want to go through my vault right now, and I want to really try to find some priceless gems with this new update. I'm trying to find some auto rifles, some hand cannons, something that I can use to combat the new meta that's going to be popping up. So let's begin. So, normal Crucible doesn't matter about light level, so I can actually pick and choose between everything. So maybe the Necrochasm will come back. Rate of fire, 100. Impact, really low. The range is probably a 15. And it's not that great, but you never know. Maybe it's going to be good inside of a normal Crucible gameplay. Alongside that, well, Chaperone, it's always been a pretty good shotgun, you know, one shot to the head. And with the new meta rising around, maybe using the Chaperone as an exotic weapon in my special slot might actually be pretty fun. I mean, it is going to be based around a primary meta because special ammo is going to leave when you die, and special ammo is going to pop up every 60 seconds. But if you get that special ammo and you waste it, you won't have it for another 60 seconds, or if you mess up and you die, you'll lose it again for another 60 seconds. And that all depends on if you actually go and grab special ammo. Ace of Spades. Hunter only, but it's actually a decent hand cannon. When it was first released, it was really fun to use. And your radar stays active while aiming down the sights. Precision kills move one round from your ammo reserve into the magazine, allowing you to have an extra round in the magazine than it would be allowed to normally. And I don't know, maybe this might be a fairly good gun to use, especially since it does have high caliber rounds and it does have Firefly. So this might be a prized gem coming into the new update. One gun I am excited to use is going to be the Jewel of Osiris Adept. This is from year one. Now, if you ever played year one Trials of Osiris, you've probably seen this gun before. And it was actually a fairly decent hand cannon. A lot of people wanted this hand cannon, and I'm lucky enough to get the solar version. The solar version just seemed to do more damage back then, and it was very useful in a lot of the nightfalls and a lot of the stuff that was happening during that meta. And now, you've got Third Eye. You've got Icarus, which I love using this with my Warlock and Self-Res Warlock, where I float in the air when I'm aiming. And then it's also got Perfect Balance. This gun has so much impact, and it had a fairly nice stability and range on it. And the rate of fire on it's not that bad either. So with this, I'm actually quite tempted to try this inside of the new meta. Alongside that, Susanoo, not really my cup of tea. I don't like using fusion rifles. Vestian Dynasty, I don't really believe that sidearms got touched all that much, so sidearms are still overpowered, so using this occasionally might be fun, alongside using the Iron Wrath. A Mobius shotgun, might actually be a very good shotgun to use now, especially with the Ward of Dawn and a couple of the changes on the Juggernaut Titan. This. I'm excited to see how this is going to work. I actually kind of forgot that I left the Doctrine of Passing in my vault. And I held on to it because it was one of those guns that everybody wanted. And I don't have the Adept version, but I'm really excited to see how this version is going to work. It's got Persistence and Hidden Hand, and it's also got Braced Frame. And this is a really good gun. and you got it out of the Trials of Osiris Year 2. You can still get this gun. You just, I don't think, can get the Adept version. The Adept version is now gone permanently, I believe. But this version will well do the job when the auto rifles come back into the meta. So let's see. Moving on, we've got the Colavance's Duty. Scout Rifle, not too precious. Oversoul Edict, not too precious. But Abyss Defiant. Now this might be fun to use inside of the Crucible in the game modes that, you know, aren't really prevalent to go and play in. The ones that light level doesn't matter. Now I won't use this inside of Trials or the Iron Banner, but it would be really cool to come back and use this weapon inside of the Crucible. Its rate of fire was really high, its reload speed was really, really high as well, and with perfect balance, its stability was actually pretty decent. Alongside that, you can do the focus fire or the hip fire, kind of making it run a little bit like Suros Regime. And that brings me into the next gun that I'm really excited about, which is down over here, which is Suros Regime. I'm actually excited to see if this comes back into the meta. This is a really good gun back in year 1 when the game first started and Crucible was pretty much an unpreferred place to go if you weren't really used to the game and you were just getting through the story mode and you were playing up against some pretty decent Twitch streamers and YouTubers. And that's pretty much when the game took off. Suros Regime was one of those weapons that a lot of people ended up using. Next up is going to be the Talalak. I just can't wait to actually bring back Talalak and use it with my Warlock and see if I can actually do some damage with this gun. It was good for a time, but it just seems to not be as beneficial to use than other guns that are out in the meta right now. So I really hope to see if this would come back and be as strong as I'd like it to be, especially with the Warlock characters. Next up is the First Curse. I actually can't wait to see if the First Curse makes it into the meta now, alongside the Last Word. So the First Curse is going to be a decent gun to use. And another thing that I can't wait to use inside of the new meta, next to guns that I can use against any light level players, is going to be Fatebringer. I'm super excited to see this gun rise to the top just because hand cannons are getting buffed up a little bit and they are going back to the year 1. Fatebringer was a great hand cannon in year 1 and I never received it until year 3, Rise of Iron. And I'm excited to actually take it to the game and see how this works inside of Crucible. Alongside this, I just cannot forget the Messenger Adept. The Messenger Adept, the pulse rifle, it is a slower rate of fire pulse rifle. Alongside the higher rate of fire pulse rifles like the Grasp of Malik or the Clever Dragon, this one actually got buffed up a little bit on the rate of fire. So I actually cannot wait to see if this is going to be a decent pulse rifle to use inside of Crucible that doesn't require light level. I will tell you this. Right now, in the meta currently, this gun, if you shoot a full burst into the head twice on any Guardian, Titan, Warlock, or Hunter, they will die. It is a 2-burst weapon from year 1, and you only were able to receive this version, the Void Adept version, if you beat Trials and went flawless. So really exciting to actually take this and go and play with it. Next up, Haken's Hatchet. Haken's Hatchet is going to be a fun one to use. The rate of fire is insanely high. The stability and reload speed are high. The range isn't that high, but the roll of this one, I kept this one for a reason. We've got counterbalance, we've got perfect balance, we've got reinforced barrel, and we've got rangefinder. Just right here, it's a god roll. In my eyes, this is a god roll. You can max out the stability, you can put counterbalance on, and you can have rangefinder on an auto rifle that fires that fast. This is going to be fun to use. I actually am really excited about this jewel to find inside of my vault space. Next up, the Word of Crota was a very interesting hand cannon. I kind of want to see how it's going to play in the new meta. It's not going to be one of those guns I actually take in to try to be competitive with, but I just am really curious as to how it's going to feel to use it. Now, one gun I'm truly excited about is the Kvostov. I wanted this Kvostov weapon since it was able to be a scout, a pulse, or an auto rifle at any given time, and if you change up the perks on it a little bit, it even feels like a sidearm if you use it appropriately. I'm really excited to see if this plays and does the damage buffs and everything that the auto rifles got. And I hope that this is actually a viable gun inside of the meta. I want to see the Kovalstov rise up to one of the top guns because it was a gun that we kind of prized before the Rise of Iron expansion launched, and we really wanted it to be something special, and it didn't end up becoming something special. It ended up becoming a pea shooter more than an actual weapon we could use. It actually turned out to be a weapon we just used for challenges to try to show up our friends inside of Crucible, not something we were going to be afraid of to go up against. So I really hope that this gun does become something very priceless. Next up, oh, the Vex. Can the Vex please come back and just be OP, please? That'd be absolutely amazing. I know it's not gonna happen, but I would really love to see the Vex Mythoclast just destroy everybody in a Crucible match that didn't have light level induced. Moving on to that though, we also have the Extremophile. The Extremophile from Dead Orbit. That one. I actually want to see this one reach the top. Now, this gun was really, really pretty getting my hands on it day one when Rise of Iron dropped and using it in Crucible. But once everybody started getting the really strong weapons back and started getting new weapons, this didn't become as viable as it was. I have a really good roll, the persistence with the perfect balance with the armor piercing rounds, but it's not as viable of a weapon to use in Crucible right now. So it's something that I'd like to see rise to the top when the update comes out Tuesday. What else do we have? Pretty sure we have some really cool weapons other than those. Let's see. We've got another Extremophile. This one has Hidden Hand. That might be an interesting one to use. Moving on to other ones. Ooh, Hard Light. This is a gem. This is a gem and a half from year one. So Hard Light is going to be a very interesting one to use. Now, if you guys don't know, it's from Omelan, as stated here. That's one of the original foundries of the tower. It's one of the original exotics. So, Omelan is very, 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 very awesome to use. The bullets bounce off of walls. The bullets do considerable amounts of damage. It has glass half full, and it's a very interesting auto rifle to use. And if you use it appropriately now in the Crucible, it can actually be a very viable weapon. A lot of people actually enjoy using this weapon in Crucible now. But with the damage multiplier that auto rifles are getting, this gun might actually rise to the top. So that's going to be actually pretty cool to get your hands on. If you don't have the Hard Light, I would try to grind for it right now while you have the chance. Next up, not too sure on if there's anything else that's really going to hit my fancy. Actually, you know what? Hawkmoon. Hawkmoon is a gun I haven't used in a long time, and I'm actually going to take the Motes of Light to level this up, and I'm going to use this gun. Probably one of my first guns I'm going to use on Tuesday. I'm going to keep you guys up to date on what guns I find that are going to be the best for my vault, but Hawkmoon is definitely going to be one of the ones I try to use. Alongside this, there's going to be the Last Word as well. I'm going to try to use the Last Word again. And then I'm also going to try the Nerwin's Mercy. I'm going to try the Hopscotch Pilgrim. I'm also going to have to try the Zealous Supercell. And I'm also going to have to try Finale's Peril. Now, Finale's Peril, I have two rolls of it, and there was one roll in particular that I got that was absolutely beautiful. And I believe the Outlaw, the Reactive Reload, and the Rifle Barrel would be a pretty good one to use. But I'm not sure that's the best one I have. I think this one was even better. Underdog, Snapshot, Braced Frame, Rifled Barrel, and Luck in the Chamber. See, the Luck in the Chamber with Braced Frame or Rifled Barrel, and then the Underdog along with, I would say, the Steady Hand IS or the Fast Draw IS, one of those two. This might actually be a fairly decent hand cannon to use also with the new meta. And alongside that, some gems from my armor set. There's a lot of armor pieces in here, and there's just a couple gems I would really like to be able to use inside of the new meta, because a couple of the exotics now are going to be kind of pointless with certain builds that are popping up with the new meta. But I really want to go through my vault again later on and figure out a perfect build for each one of my guardians on the armor sets that I just decided to hold on to. Remember, special ammo is not going to be a very big deal inside of this meta, so you're going to want to have special ammo occasionally, but you're going to want to have that shotgun or that sniper or fusion rifle or sidearm. And honestly, I'm thinking sidearm might be more used than any other one because of the fact that it does get its special ammo back, and if you die, you get to keep special ammo on your sidearm, which is a big deal. So spawning in with special ammo on your sidearm might be one of the reasons that we end up going to a primary meta and sidearm meta. Now, shotguns and sniper rifles, on the other hand, might not be that prevalent. But there you have it, Guardians. That's all the stuff out of my vault that I cannot wait to use. I hope you all enjoyed this video. It's something a little different on the channel. I know I don't normally go through my vault, but that's pretty much over the last 3 years of playing Destiny what I have acquired. And I hope you all enjoyed the items. Let me know down in the comments what gun you would like to use out of my vault that you prefer over all the other ones that I've shown you today. And as always, Guardians, drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, share it with your friends, leave questions or concerns in the comment section as well, and as always, stay violent, be privileged. We'll see you all in the next episode.